All right, y'all. Welcome back to the Cowboy and the Queen, the Aesthetics here. We're in Charleston, South Carolina, just finishing up on a wonderful weekend we had with everyone. It was super incredible to spend time together, and we are here together, And what we're talking about today is what's trending in aesthetics. Well, this jacket right now is trending. These glasses are trending. The aesthetic cowboys trend, right? So, Missy, how are you, darling?
I'm good. This weekend was a whirlwind as it always is, but it's always good to collaborate with different physicians and nurses throughout the country and just kind of get a good pulse on, what's going on in the industry and staying on the forefront of what's trending and what's happening. It
Okay.
was great.
It was a lot of fun. So let's talk about what is trending in aesthetics and then heading into 2026.
Let's do it. This industry is so hard to keep up with because things are constantly changing. And so it's always good to just talk about what's going on and what people are wanting for 2026. So, I think it's important to know what's legit, what's hype, and then what we're seeing in real life.
Absolutely. And, let's just go ahead and start big too, because, fillers, they used to be such a big thing. And, they're not gone, but they're not the main character anymore.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, the entire market has moved to more of this regenerative injectable landscape. And so people don't just want to be filled these days, but they want something that's going to stimulate collagen, improve skin and quality, and give a natural, long lasting result. So biostimulation is really something that you're going to continue to see in 2026.
I think so as well. And, so we're talking like radius, Sculptra, PRP, exosomes, all those good things. It- is that the direction you think we're headed?
Absolutely. I know that, we're still going to be using some hyaluronic acids, but I think for the main portion of fillers, I think biostimulation is absolutely where we're going to continue to trend. And, I like this because people don't just want to be volumized. They want structure, they want collagen, they want to look expensive, but they don't want to look filled. And so I think, using things like Radius and PLLA and PRP and things like that, I think that's where we're really going to be seeing that the skin trend is going is for biostimulation. So we want to make the body not just look better, but function better.
And like one question I wrote down here is I said, people used to actually come in like asking for lips and, cheeks all the time. And it's like, fix my pores.
Right. No, I mean, 2025 or 2026 is going to be about healthy, glowing, natural results. And patients
It's the
want,
glow era.
they do, they want smoother texture, tighter pores. And so it's going to be encompassing not just biostimulation, but giving people that glass, flawless velvet look.
Absolutely. Yep. 100%. Then kind of diving in now we had another question here. Let's talk devices. And some clinics, they would just buy anything that lights up.
That's
That was a
true.
good one.
That
That
is
was a good
true.
one. I
That
totally
is true.
understood that. That was good.
So say that again. Not every shiny box is created equally for sure. But I think some trends that we are going to see in the device market for 2026, RF microneedling is here to stay. I know it kind of got beat up a little bit earlier in the year with some approval or some that came out with the FDA saying that RF microneedling causes fat loss and causes scarring. And I really think that that's not the case. I really think it's truly dependent on who's doing your treatment and actually what RF microneedling device that you're using. So RF microneedling is not going anywhere. Thulium resurfacing is super sexy for 2026. It's a resurfacing laser that you can do without having a lot of downtime, and we can really adjust the dwell time in the skin so we can go more superficial or more aggressive depending on someone's social calendar, right? And then I think photobiomodulation is something we're going to continue to see in 2026, and not just red light therapy, but really technology that is more comprehensive. So we're going to be looking at and seeing more photobiomodulation where the mitochondrial functioning is actually changing intracellularly. And so that's a big deal.
It is. And like just going off that, because like I know there was a ton of people like worried about when that came out about the RF devices. Do you know a little bit more information on that or why that was said or what was going on with that?
That's a good question. And yes, I do know a lot about that actually. So Sometimes the misconception is the hotter the device is or the deeper that it goes into the tissue, the more effective and efficient that it is, which is absolutely, like we know, is not true. Deeper and hotter is not better. And so when you're thinking about the skin is about the thickness of a credit card, right? And so some devices go super deep, and that's kind of how they're sold in the space is well, mine's hotter, mine's deeper, so it's gonna have to work better. It's gonna work better. And that's not true. So we know that a less aggressive approach in the right tissue plane is really what makes the device work, makes it safe, and allows practitioners to give good, consistent, reproducible results that actually make a huge difference for people.
And that's why you just don't slap a device on someone without a plan, right?
Absolutely. No, I mean, exactly. No, and you know what? Speaking of trends, I think in 2026, what we're really going to see too is that people want a roadmap. They don't just want a treatment, they want a comprehensive plan to see what they're going to do next month, next quarter, and how do we maintain with these results. So I really think, a plan, a comprehensive plan, an AI generated comprehensive plan is going to be what really sells these patients because
Strategy.
a
Yeah.
strategy, right, for
Yep.
sure. They want a strategy, Wyatt. They don't want a menu of services, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Want a beauty coach.
100%. And that's exactly they love that. They want a beauty coach,
Mhm.
for sure. They want a plan.
And you got a beauty coach.
We
Right.
do, we
Yeah.
do.
Okay, this is a big one. So this is a question we had here. Looking there's GLP-1. Tell me a little bit more about this. They aren't all alike.
No, they're not.
So let's kind of dive in a little bit about that.
So, well, there's GLP-1s, there's GIPs, and we're going to do a whole podcast on those. But those are weight loss medications that are trending in aesthetics and really in medicine right now in general. And what we're going to be seeing is there's going to be a new player on the market, and it's called retatrutide. And so we'll have our their GLP-1s, we'll have our GIPs, and then we'll have um, the glucagon inhibitor, which is going to be the retatrutide. And so the problem with these trends is that, their faces are melting. Their faces are melting, their bodies are shrinking, but so is their skin,
Yeah.
right? And so I think we're going to see a lot more body skin tightening in this next year. And we're ready for it. I mean, if you have the correct tools to do body tightening and help with that crepey skin and pore size, I think that's what we're going to see trending. And also, too, I mean, what we're really learning in this space is that devices aren't just the only things a patient needs. And injectables isn't just what a patient needs, but layering these modalities where we're doing devices, injectables, topicals, plus these GLP-1s and this wellness component with peptides, that is, my friend, where the market's going.
That's I mean, do you think that is going to be kind of the bread and butter? I mean,
Absolutely. No, I do. I think that that's really where the market's headed. It's going to be comprehensive. People don't just want to look better, but they want to feel better and they want to function in their maximum capacity.
yeah, so I mean, it's like everything from sleep to hormones, all these things. I mean, these are super important.
Yeah, no. So I think that, hormone replacement therapy is definitely trending for 2026.
I'm fixing to get it. I'm going to do it.
Absolutely, you should. I mean,
Yep.
people don't even realize how bad they're feeling, and you cannot out inject or out Botox or out laser the hormone imbalance or poor recovery. So definitely need to maximize their hormones because patients are learning that sleep and cortisol and inflammation all affect their skin, our metabolism, and our healing, our ability to heal, and just muscle recovery too.
Absolutely. Yep. And this is an interesting one. The question we got here says Botox. So it's not Botox or wellness anymore. It's Botox and wellness, not Botox or wellness. It's Botox and wellness.
Correct. So the future really is biohacking meets beauty, essentially. And I think that's what we're going to see more of in 2026.
I 100% agree with you. And then going into like, we have some folks asked about social media, how we're doing things. People show up in screenshots, TikToks, all these things, influencers. Um, but you need to, I mean, before I started doing it, like I'm not the biggest social media guy, but that's, a couple posts, but it is super important for your practice to market. what y'all have, but be y'all self though too. You can't pretend to be another office or whatever. Y'all need to kind of just represent your brand and how you do things.
No, for sure. Social media is definitely changing how people shop for, procedures that they come in and see us for, and also they're looking at social media to look for, you know, what's true. And sometimes when that sounded so dumb. What else?
Okay. It looks good, honey.
So social media is changing the way patients shop in aesthetics and in wellness
It is.
too.
It is.
And they're educated, but I also think that this can be confusing. What they want is they want offices to be transparent, show real results, like you said, and be honest with like downtime and patient expectations.
Be authentic, and that's why we're doing this podcast. That's why we're doing this for folks. We want to be real.
Another thing I think that's going to be trending for 2026 too is people want to look natural. They just want to
Yes.
look less done.
I concur. So the last one, a couple of these last ones we have, last questions. This just popped up here. I was looking here. It says, what trends need to end?
So, in my opinion, what
Yes, let's
trends
go.
need to
Let's go.
Okay, so at home microneedling devices are a little bit of my Achilles heel just because I'm not sure how they can be effectively sterilized. And I think there are a lot of cheap LED masks that are on the market that are pretending to be photobiomodulation and they're not even close. And I think over injecting, there's a lot of underqualified injectors without adequate training that are not safely providing these procedures. And so I think that's something that needs to end. And then I think, we will see the end in the trend of overfilled lips and overfilled cheeks and hopefully overfilled jawlines and chins. And then, under underpowered devices that are just all hype and don't really do anything effectively.
You know, folks want more of a natural solution. That's where it's going 100%. They do not want the fake stuff no more.
They don't. They don't. And I've seen this trend kind of evolve ever since I've been in aesthetics, which has been for 26 years. So a really long time. And in the beginning of my career, I feel like skin wasn't as important. People just wanted filler, 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 or toxin, toxin, toxin. And now we're really starting with skin health. They want really healthy skin, which has always been important to me. But just making sure that their skin health is important. And then they still want, and I think the good thing about these regenerative injectables and these energy based devices is that all of these things are making the skin function younger and healthier. So if we can do that and also get really good aesthetic results, I think it's a win win for everybody. And, why not? We can really, are in a time where we can have it all
Yep.
for sure.
So yeah, we're just finishing up this conference here. So like, if y'all see people walking in the background or whatnot, this is just hey, we giddy up and this is how we do it. Have fun. And then just kind of like in closing, you know, what I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out like what is going to be the future. What is going to be like the smarter, healthier, more, regenerative solution in aesthetics. I know kind of like, is it more of the exosomes, peptides, hormones? And I know that we're going to talk more of GLP-1s in our next one or whatnot. But any thoughts? Any?
Absolutely. I think regenerative everything do, I think, better biologics, being stem cells, exosomes, polynucleotides, things like that. And photobiomodulation, actual honest to God photobiomodulation is going to be something that I think will be the next big wave. Also, like I said earlier, AI driven treatment planning, where we plan someone's entire
That's why.
aesthetic plan for the year, right? Instead of just doing one procedure, two procedure, three procedure, but they want a plan and they don't want a menu of services. They want an actual plan. And then, that massive push towards natural results with long term skin health in mind or in tandem. So, for sure.
Combo therapy. Like the combination of the different procedures. Is that kind of like what you're kind of going with what you're saying?
Absolutely. We're going to be stacking energy based devices with biostimulation and then topping it off with a cherry on top using exosomes and things like that. So I think combination therapy is definitely where it's headed. and where, our patients currently do things. I don't feel like if you're just doing one thing to your skin these days and you're not layering energy-based devices, you're not layering regenerative injectables, using really good skincare, then you're missing it.
I agree. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of good stuff out there, but there's also a lot of bad stuff out there.
That's true. That's true. So, that's the direction. And honestly, I'm here for that. I'm loving the fact that we are getting away from these overfilled looks and we're really getting back to natural, healthy looking skin and faces, right?
Mhm.
Right. For sure.
And that's why I love like all these folks like reaching out and like texting us all these questions because like these are things that folks want to know.
For sure.
They care about like if it's an office or if it's just a patient, like what they should do. So these are all super important things. Like I said, going into 2026 as well. Um, so y'all, all right, y'all. That wraps up today, the Cowboy and the Queen of Aesthetics. Once again, like I said, what's trended? This jacket, these glasses, aesthetic cowboy, Missy Gibbons.
So go get your collagen stimulated and your wellness
Yes.
dialed in, right? And we will see you guys next week for another podcast episode of Cowboy and the Queen of Aesthetics.